At 2:07 in the morning, I called my mother. No answer. I called my father. Nothing. I called my mother again. By 2:41, I had called 17 times. My appendix had ruptured. The pain had gone from something I could tolerate to something that made the walls of my apartment feel unreal. At the hospital, a nurse asked whether there was someone she could contact. My parents, I said. I remember feeling relieved when I gave her their numbers. They would come. That was what families did when things became serious. At least, that was what I had always told myself. The last message from my mother arrived while I was being prepared for surgery. Your sister's baby shower is tomorrow. We can't leave now. Try to rest. I stared at it until the nurse took my phone from my hand. I didn't answer. I couldn't think of anything to say. When I woke up, there was a surgeon standing beside my bed. He looked tired, not frightened, not rushed, just tired. You had a very close call, he said. I tried to speak, but my throat felt dry. Then he paused. There is something else you should know. I waited. A woman came here earlier claiming to be your mother. My stomach tightened. She wanted you discharged. I thought I had misunderstood him. Discharged? She said you were stable enough to leave, and that she would take responsibility for you. I stared at him. My mother hadn't even come. She had sent a text. The surgeon continued. We refused. You weren't medically ready. Something cold settled inside me, then he added, but someone else intervened. He pointed toward the door. A man was sitting in the hallway. My father. I hadn't seen him in almost 3 years. He stood when he noticed me looking. For several seconds, neither of us said anything. Then the surgeon said, your father paid the bill and made it clear that you were not to be discharged until we considered it medically appropriate. I looked at my father. You came? He nodded. I did. There was no dramatic apology. No explanation that magically repaired everything, just those 2 words. And somehow, they hurt more than anything else, because I remembered all the times I had told myself he was too busy, all the birthdays he missed, all the phone calls I stopped making. I had convinced myself I didn't need him. Maybe I had. But sitting there, weak and stitched together, I realized I had spent years making excuses for people who didn't have to ask me to make them. My mother eventually called. I watched her name appear on my screen. I didn't answer. My father noticed. You should talk to her when you're ready, he said. I looked at him. Were you ready? He lowered his eyes. No. It was the most honest thing he had ever said to me. He stayed that afternoon, not perfectly. He asked too many questions. He brought me coffee even though I couldn't drink it. He apologized awkwardly for things he should have apologized for years earlier. I didn't forgive him, not that day. But I didn't ask him to leave either. Weeks later, my mother sent me pictures from the baby shower. I looked at them once. Then I deleted them, not because I hated my sister, not because I wanted anyone to suffer. I simply didn't want to keep searching those photographs for proof that I belonged. For most of my life, I had thought being loved meant being chosen when it mattered. That night taught me something different. Sometimes the hardest part isn't realizing someone didn't choose you. It's realizing how long you kept waiting for them to. I still speak to my parents. Sometimes my relationship with my father is still complicated. My relationship with my mother is quieter than it used to be. Neither one became perfect. Neither one needed to. I just stopped building my life around the possibility that, someday, they might finally make me their priority. And strangely, that didn't feel like losing my family. It felt like finally getting my life back.